There was a time in America when eating alone was rare, when meals were shared at community tables, in homes, boarding houses, taverns, churches, farms, and work camps. This is the story of why Americans used to eat together. A long wooden table. No phones. No screens. No individual plates pushed far apart. Just people. Men with tired hands. Women carrying steaming bowls. Children squeezed between adults, swinging their legs under the bench. The food is simple. The room is loud. And everyone eats together. There was a time in America when eating alone was rare, when meals were shared at community tables in homes, boarding houses, taverns, churches, farms, and work camps. This is the story of why Americans used to eat together, how community tables shaped daily life, and what we slowly lost when those tables disappeared. In early America, especially before the 20th century, life was communal by necessity. People lived close, worked together, relied on neighbors to survive. Privacy was a luxury, community was survival. And nowhere was that more visible than at the dinner table. A community table was exactly what it sounds like. One large table. Shared food. Shared space. Shared time. These tables existed in farmhouses, boarding houses, taverns, inns, churches, worker housing, frontier settlements. They weren't about comfort. They were about connection and efficiency. Food was scarce. Cooking was labor-intensive. Fuel cost money. It made sense to cook one large meal, feed many people, waste nothing. But something else happened around those tables. People talked, argued, laughed, shared news. The table became the heart of American daily life. In colonial and early rural America, families were large. Homes were small. Rooms served multiple purposes. The kitchen was also the living room. At mealtime, everyone ate together, often from shared bowls, using simple utensils or none at all. Food wasn't individualized. It was collective. As America industrialized, millions moved to cities. Factory workers, immigrants, and single laborers often lived in boarding houses. Meals were included in rent. Everyone ate at the same time, at the same table, the same food. It didn't matter who you were. When the bell rang, you sat down. These meals weren't fancy. Stews, bread, beans, potatoes. But they were hot, and they were early American taverns didn't have private tables. They had long communal benches. Travelers, workers, locals, strangers. All ate together. It wasn't rude, it was expected. Conversation was part of the meal. Churches often hosted shared meals. After services. During holidays. In hard times. Food brought people together across class and background. A poor farmer and a local merchant might sit side by side. At the table, everyone was equal, before refrigeration and cheap groceries. Food spoiled quickly. Meat was expensive. Cooking took hours. Sharing meals meant less waste, less fuel, more survival. Eating together wasn't sentimental. It was practical, the table as a place of belonging. For immigrants, community tables were lifelines. They spoke familiar languages, ate familiar food, found comfort in shared routines. A stranger at work became a friend at dinner. Loneliness faded, at least for an hour. Children learned life at the table. They listened, watched, learned manners, heard stories. They learned how adults talked, how conflicts were resolved, how humor softened hard days. The table was a classroom. News traveled by word of mouth. At the table, people shared work injuries, crop failures, Births, deaths, hopes, history lived in conversation. Community tables weren't always peaceful. People argued, voices rose, opinions clashed. But people stayed, because leaving the table meant leaving the community. In many ways, these tables reflected early American democracy, messy, loud, imperfect, but shared. For many, the table was the only warm place of the day, especially for workers and the poor. It offered hot food, human presence, a reminder that you weren't alone. That mattered more than the meal. It's as America grew wealthier. Homes became larger. Families became smaller. Privacy became valued. Dining rooms replaced kitchens. Personal plates replaced shared bowls. Eating became individual. Industrial schedules changed meal times. Factory shift, office hours, school schedules. People stopped eating at the same time. Community meals became inconvenient, with refrigerators. Food lasted longer. Meals became flexible. Eating together was no longer necessary. Convenience replaced coordination. The modern table. Today, many eat alone, or while watching screens, or at different times. Food is abundant, but shared meals are rare. We gained comfort, we gained convenience. But we lost daily connection, shared silence, shared laughter, shared struggle. The table stopped being a gathering place. It became furniture. Science now tells us what history already knew. Eating together builds trust, empathy, belonging. Early Americans didn't need studies to know that. They lived it. Once, Americans ate together because they had to. They stayed together because they wanted to. The community table wasn't perfect, but it was human. The next time you sit down to eat, imagine that long wooden table again. Imagine strangers becoming neighbors, neighbors becoming family. If this story made you think differently about something as simple as a meal, like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe for more forgotten stories of everyday American life. Because sometimes history isn't about what we ate, but who we ate with.